Bluff, you'll remember that from a previous vid, but instead of travelling west towards the lighthouse, we're going to walk into town along the coast. Some interesting spots along the way that we can look at with fresh eyes. Picnic area with the ever popular free barbecue. Let's make our way down to the coastal path, and this is the view out into the strait. And we're headed around that headland. Along the grassland here, lots of older folk walking dogs and talking pointlessly. Full of aging hippies. And of course the wind is just starting to pick up, so hopefully we have some decent audio. Off to the east. And as seems to be essential these days, a graffitied skate park. Enough to keep the kiddies occupied. Quite a pleasant walk, not too steep anywhere. Probably another wheelchair friendly walk. Just over 2 k's into town. Powered street lighting. Some quite hardy coastal vegetation. And just over the top, Stony Beach. A popular spot for dog walkers. A sweeping view of the coast headed away towards the headland. And as befits any public space, a very peculiar piece of artwork. I hope we're picking up the bird chatter in the background. It's really quite pleasant today. And here you can see the beach coming up to the path. Let's go and grab a closer look. I'll give you a look at the steps as well. On the path, not so much dominating, but always with us feature along the northwest here is the Bass Strait. Gentle rolling parkland, not so much rolling as relatively flat. Folk out and about, see them off there in the distance. There's a clue about the district. You just leave stuff that doesn't belong and the people come back and get it. That building there is a maritime museum. We won't go in today because it's not open on a Monday. And of course, this being Australia, there's always some sort of war memorial about. Not venerating war, but caring for those that passed. Each one of those trees and each one of these plinths commemorates someone who lost their life in that conflict. Sapper Jeffrey John Coombs, who died on the 22nd of March 1968 at the age of 22. Back on the track, and let's keep moving. First glimpses up there of the Mersey. We'll get a closer look as we get closer, obviously. More memorialisation, and of course the free barbies. According to that, we've come 900 metres, about 1,000 yards. Well, for the Americans out there, 3,000 feet. Aikenhead Point, where the Mersey enters the strait on the left bank. Bit of a lookout out here, so we'll go and have a look. The Mersey off to the right. Bit of an interesting looking sculpture up there. We'll have a look as we get closer. A little bit of surf on this end. In fact, a little bit of surf all the way around to where we started. Looks like Neptune up there, but we'll go and have a read of the plaque. And yes, it's got one of those horrible see-through floors that I just love. Spirit of the Sea, apparently, so it evokes your classical mythology. View back into town where we'll be heading. You can see some ships in there that we'll have a closer look when we get there. Back off Aikenhead Point and off the walkway and back onto the pathway, and more access to the actual water itself, should you feel the need to wander down. Mobile coffee available if you're interested. Our friend the seagulls. There goes another. Getting closer to the ships and you can see the oil dump in the background there on the other side of the river. Waves rolling into the Mersey. Pleasant parkland-like effect continues. Another juxtaposition of tropical, subtropical yucca trees and deciduous hardwood. And closer to those ships. There's a better shot of the waves rolling into the mouth of the Mersey. Bit of a swell, slight one out there in Bass Strait today. Nothing to be overly concerned about. Bit of a break, take a layer off, and now we're back into it. Don't know if you can hear it, but there's some construction going on in the background. People always spending money for better water views. More people as we're getting closer to town. Strollers, so definitely wheelchair safe. A lot more car parking opportunities as well. You don't want to do the whole walk, but it's really quite pleasant. As we get round the corner up here, we should have a better view of those ships. A series of 3 Federation style properties. That one's in the grander style, obviously. Next door as well. Have a hint, we're getting closer to a working port. Devonport's a bigger town than most of the ones we go to. So it has quite a sizable war memorial. We'll get up closer and have another look when we get there. Impressive structure. And AIF chiselled into the little circular alcove above the names. And being AIF, it lets you know it's the First World War memorial. It's the initials of the Australian Imperial Force. And the Australian Imperial Force was one of only 2 fully volunteer forces during the First World War amongst the combatants. Quite an imposing monument. Across the river from that, getting closer to our ships. We get further from the coast, closer to town, the style of Federation House becomes more modest. Time feel with the beacon there in front of the Golden Arches. The Spirit, I'm not sure which number, it'll be 2 or 3. The Spirits 4 and 5 were ordered and built, but the dock wasn't made big enough for them. That's what that crane work at the back's about. They're a much bigger ship. Order a ship, or a pair of ships even. Not have a dock for them is beyond me, but that's the kind of government we have here. Like 80 or 90% of the maritime trade that comes in and out of Tassie comes through Devonport. Let's go and have a look across the Mersey from the end of this pier. Seats for a casual viewing. Getting ready for an overnighter, I believe. The daytime one would have already sailed, I believe. And there's the navigation beacon. Around to the Spirit. Not the world's biggest ferry, but not a small one either. Probably a lot larger than the Empress of Tasmania that I travelled over on for the first time in 1985. That was more like an oversized Sydney Harbour ferry. A walkway and a viewing platform out there. See if we can get up and have a look. Well, that's very disappointing. It'll mean the stairs. And there they are. There's the Spirit up close. and a cargo ship behind. And we've hit one of those early spring days where once the sun's up, it's a stinker. So I'm taking off layer after layer because it was reasonably cool this morning. But we'll get down to the bottom of the stairs and have another look across. There she be, Spirit of Tassie, and the sea road behind her. There in the background, got a fair bit of wheat up here in the northwest, considering the area. It's a lot not the same as Western Australia, obviously, but there's still wheat being grown here. The line in from Burnie runs down there.